Hello, welcome to a brand new video. This is my channel. Now, if you could subscribe and leave a like down below, that would be very much appreciated. Now, to the video. Hello and welcome to another video. This is part 2 of What If Deku Was Ink Sans. Sorry for the wait, but I was over at my dad's for the weekend, so I really couldn't record or anything. So sorry about that. But I believe we left I just checked the video. I said I would do the battle trials for this video. Start out with those. So that should be fun. So without further ado, let's get into the what if. Well, it's like a normal day. They all are in class, and all of a sudden, All Might comes running through the door and says, "I'm coming through the door like a normal person," breaking down the door. Izuku who just teleports and creates in the door, fixing it. Ignoring All Might altogether. This creeps a little people out because usually when people see All Might, they go up in a flutter and be like, "It's the #1 hero!" Or, the #1 hero. No one has never ever ignored him, and, he kind of had a grimace face. Like, it looked like he was ready about to kill someone. That's why it scared everybody. But he really didn't care. All Might just ignored it and said, "We are going to do some hero training, but can't be proper heroes without a suit." And he clicks the red button, popping out suitcases with suits. Izuku's suit, hero suit, is basically a long scarf, like, basically this, look at the gear Ink has in this picture. He doesn't have the vials yet, so he's still emotionless. Except for he has a green vial, because of the sludge villain. He turned that into green paint. He can use black paint whenever he wants. Black and white paint, which is how he mainly travels around, but green is the color of disgust. So, as you can see right here, green for disgust, light blue for patience. I don't know what the mild blue would be for, but that's not mild blue, but regular blue, I think, is for, I don't know actually. Purple is for lust. Red is for rage. Orange is, I have no clue. Yellow is for happiness. I'll have to figure out when I look at the souls. Hold on a sec, I'll look at them right now. I guess I was wrong. Red's determination. Cyan, I was right, was patience. orange, bravery, blue, integrity, purple, perseverance, green is kindness, yellow is justice. And I think there's more about it over here. Here we go. Pink is metally, but I don't know what the hell that means. Odyssey is a little bit darker pink. Heroic is even darker pink. Then determination, then blackish like red is confidence. Bravery, justice, curiosity is real light green. Friendliness is almost that green, and wisdom is that dark green. So I would say he gained these three colors from the slime, as well as kindness. So he can kind of feel kindness. He can be kind, white, with wisdom and friendliness. A little bit curious so far. He already had black and white, which was love and discovering the undiscovered, so he understood those two things at the beginning. I'm going to download this image. There. Now won't forget where it is. Now, sorry for getting so off track. But so let's get into the fighting. All teams are the same. Not changing anything of that matter. He is discussing a plan with Uraka that he's going to set up a few traps because he knows Bakugo will come after him. And while he's setting up traps, he's going to have Uraka go to the top floor or look for the bomb. And they do this as soon as they rock him, he starts placing traps. Like random portals that blend in with the floor. They'll teleport him away further in the different part of the building. But it looks like it's the same, because the layout is everything. Almost all the floors look the same, so he's on a different floor. Confusing the hell out of Bakugo, making it like a maze. And as Bakugo is trying to figure this maze out, Uraka finds where the bomb's located and indicates that to Izuku. Izuku teleports right next to Uraka. And he sees that Ida's there. So he creates a drawing with his brush. Okay, let me explain this. Without his brush, he can create almost simplistic things, except for like brushes, because obviously he had to make a brush. But he has to really know something very Well, except for its look to create it, but with his brush he can just paint just to make it. So he uses his brush to make a bunch of snakes. And these snakes wrap around Ida. And Ida's trying to get them off because he's scared of them. And as Ida does this, Zuko calmly walks over to the bow and touches it. And the hero team wins. And Zuko can also erase mistakes or erase things he doesn't want to be anymore. With was his paintbrush has two sides to it, where one side's just can be used as a blunt weapon to push someone like a bow staff. The other side's the paint tool, but you can also open up the end that like this end right here of its paintbrush you can take off, and you can use that side to erase. He uses that side and erases the snakes, letting and portals, so he undoes his stuff so everyone else can use the building. Now after that, it's after like a couple days is the USJ. They all load up on a bus with their hero costumes on. They're all talking, and you asks Izuku, "So, what is your quirk?" Izuku just says, let's see. I don't think I even gave his quirk a name, but, if I didn't, just I'll give it to him, give it one now. His quirk will be named, wait a second. Yep, I figured out one. I am so goddamn stupid. It is easy to figure out. His quirk's name would be Ink. And Sue asks, and what does your quirk do? And Izuku says, well, I can teleport, I can create gas blasters, I can create things with my brush, and I have telekinesis. And he also mentions that he is slowly some of his flesh is ripping off as he grows. So I'm gonna make it to where he turns into a skeleton eventually. And then he says, also as a part of my quirk. I can't feel emotions unless I create them. And Tsuyu says, create them? What do you mean? And he goes farther to explain that he can use colors of and turn them into paint. He can't use his own. And as long as he has the vials, he can feel emotion. Type of emotion they represent. And a bunch of other things that go along with it. So this freaks out everyone a little bit hearing this, but they eventually calm down. But they were freaked out by the part that his skin is rotting off. I should have said that. But Tsuyu remarks on the color of his eyes are green and white. And he says that's because he has a green vial, so one of his eyes his eyes are a mirror to what he's feeling. So he's feeling kindness and friendliness and stuff like that. And then let's just say they got to the damn USJ, and then okay, the Canadian flag-haired kid. Everyone knows Kirishima, that's his name. That's who I'm talking about. Says, cool, they even have fake villains. And Izoa says, everyone back up, 13, protect the kids. And Izuku says, interesting. Teleporting down. Zawa says, what are you doing? Get back. Izuku says, no thanks. And he starts using his gaster blasters, blasting villains. This doesn't kill them, but it does knock them out. Using his telekinesis to bash some into others. Even going as far as to use some of their weapons, like knives and stuff, into a part of their back that wouldn't kill them, but it would disable them. Stabbing them in there with his telekinesis. Scaring some of the villains. Because he is slightly smiling. Covered in a bit of blood. This creeps out everyone. And then Izuku sees the Nomu and says, ooh, what is this? Teleporting next to that thing. Shigura and sees Shigaraki as the leader and might know what the damn thing is. And asks, is this human? And Shigaraki says, no, it has no mind of its own. Nomu, kill him. And Izuku says, "Good." With red eyes, because he has a little bit of blood on him, which is color red, determination, and could be malice, rage, and yeah. So, using one of the knives from the things, he grabs it with telekinesis and grabs it, stabbing the Nomu, collecting blood in a vial, and then puts it on his vial in his vial sash. And he collects multiple of these, putting some in a pocket. Let's just say he has multiple pockets for him. And he keeps extra vials, just in case they get broken. And he collects a lot, and he's noticing that the Nomu's not dying, and he smirks at this and says, "You would be a good source." Out loud, everyone could hear this, because he says it really loud in a crazy-ish voice. And Shigaraki, he just has fear written all over his face. He is scared. And as Zuko decides to knock the damn creature out with blunt force, so it couldn't regeneration doesn't work on getting knocked out. He hit him hard enough, absorption didn't matter, and his super strength really doesn't have anything to do with it. So the Nomu was knocked out, and he goes after Shigaraki with malice in his eyes, or I should say eye sockets. And he starts and sees as Zuko's face touches Zuko's face, and it starts decaying off. Zuko is unaffected by this. It rots off his skin and does not, and that's all. And Zuko becomes a full skeleton, with all his skin rotted off into dust. And it's scared. This creeps Shigaraki out even more. And Deku just grabs Shigaraki by the neck and throws him aside. Kurogiri teleports him out of there. And when everyone else was there, the police say they would be taking the Nomu, and Izuku says, "Sorry, but this is mine," and teleports it to a pocket dimension. He can make pocket dimensions he can go into and stuff. He can store things in. So, and the police just say whatever. Because it did give them a portion enough of the body, because it regenerates, so you cut up multiple limbs and give it to them so they could analyze the body parts. And the sludge pill was another thing in that pocket dimension, another source for his vials. And then we go, after the USG attack, we go to, let's see, the UA Sports Festival. And they all get there in their gym uniforms. Everyone, when class A is called out, let's say Izuku is the one who goes up on the podium. Everyone sees that he's just a skeleton. They're a little freaked out by this. And Izuku says, "Let's have some fun," with rent into his eyes. And this just freaks everyone out. And when I say eyes, I mean his, since he has no eyes, in his eye sockets glowing, it's glowing red. Little glows of red, like skeletons from Undertale. Like this. That is what I mean, okay? And yeah, this freaks everyone out, but they just ignore it. Now, first matchup, Izuku against Shinso. Shinso is trash talking Izuku and shit about him having better quirk and he's lucky and blah blah blah. And then Izuku just walks up to him with a blank expression and kicks him. And Shinso is sent flying out of the ring with broken ribs and hits the wall. And Izuku, then next is the whatever fight went next, and Izuku goes against Todoroki. Now Todoroki is only using his eyes right now. And Izuku, with a bit of malice in his eyes, says, "Why don't you use your full power? Then maybe you'd be able to lay a scratch on me. That would be fun." And Todoroki says, I will not use his power. Izuku says, whose power? Are you talking about the flaming pile of garbage? And Todoroki says, what flaming pile of garbage are you talking about? Izuku says, Endeavor. And Todoroki says, that. You think he's a piece of garbage? A flaming piece of garbage? And Izuku says, yes, but even if you're his son, you're not him. Neither is your fireside. And Roki, having realizing that, stop being a fucking dumbass, uses his fireside and his ice side. Still not a match for Izuku. He's just dodging them, not even teleporting. And then Izuku just teleports right behind Todoroki and says, I guess you need to train. I guess you need to train. Sticking his hand straight through Todoroki's back, right into his gut, and says, oops, a little too much. And starts healing him. And Izuku wins that fight. And everyone is a bit scared of him. Let's just say he goes up against Bakugo for this final fight. And Bakugo is trying to explode him. And one chance, Bakugo gets a blow on his head. And it cracks Izuku's skull, tossing it right off of his shoulders. And when everyone sees what happened, everyone tries to stop the fight, but Izuku's headless body, when Bakugo thinks he won, just creates a knife out of his hand, stabbing into Bakugo's arm, or hand, the one he used to explode his head. And Bakugo goes to grabs his hand in pain. Zuko walks over to his fractured skull and puts it back on, healing it. But his skin doesn't come back. And he says, that wasn't very nice. And grabs another knife, stabbing into his foot, kicking it in. Or just stomping it into his foot. And Bakugo is being held by his telekinesis. And then he says, you're not even worth the effort. And backhands Bakugo almost into the stands, knocking him out. because of this, Izuku got a train, what is it called? An internship from Endeavor, because everyone else was too scared to internship him. So did Todoroki, but Todoroki went with him. And let's say they, oh yeah, and Ida went to internship, and the hero killer stain was, Izuku stopped the hero killer stain um, from killing Ida, almost killing the hero killer, but not leaving the hero killer disabled, because when he pinned the hero killer with his telekinesis, he fractured each and every both his arms and legs. So yeah, people were very scared of him. And Izuku didn't heal Ida because he really didn't like Ida. And Izuku went, to Endeavor's agency with Todoroki. And Izuku says, as soon as Izuku sees Endeavor, says, so it's a famous pile of burning garbage. Endeavor says, what did you just call me? And Izuku says, I believe I just called you famous pile of burning garbage. Endeavor turns on his flame and says, you want to say that again? Izuku says, you are a burning pile of garbage. And Todoroki sees this and Endeavor blasts him with flames, melting Izuku's skeleton. And Todoroki thought he was dead, but Izuku says, that tickled, with red eyes, and says, you shouldn't have done that. He sticks his hand into Endeavor's chest, and people could see this live because he was the #2 hero, so this was a training. So people saw this kid stick his hand into Endeavor's stomach and just pull out some guts. And it was written up as a case of self-defense. Endeavor died. And Todoroki was shocked. And his Izuku eyes turned normal and said, ew. He's even he's even disgusting when he's dead. Since he and Todoroki really actually felt somewhat happy about this, that he was dead. But still was scared the shit out of by Izuku. And let's say after a while Izuku guys got found all the colors for vials before he went to the before the final exams. So now he knows kindness, compassion, and all that shit. So he's no longer emotionless. No. Araka has been crushing on him for a while, but was always too scared to tell him. And until actually, I'll wait till after the final exams. The final exam, since Izuku was a little too powerful, Bakugo and Izuku did separate trials with All Might. Izuku beat All Might. Let's explain this. Well, much like in the fight with Bakugo, Izuku gets his head knocked off by All Might this time because with a punch. And All Might, seeing that this has happened before, he's not dead, does not worry and keeps attacking. Eventually, Izuku gets angry and tears one of his own arms off. And All Might, surprised by this, is shocked by this. Izuku uses his arm as a weapon, going as far as to break it on All Might. And this pisses Deku off. So he makes a knife and starts stabbing at All Might. And then All Might, and then he sees, and then he remembers the wound. Being enraged, in the middle of being enraged from getting his head knocked off, stabs All Might right in the wound, making All Might revert back to his normal form, with him coughing out blood. Then instantly after, Izuku starts healing him and says, "You're not done yet." And heals All Might back to his prime, to where he has no injury, and then stabs him again. Over and over until he gets his satisfaction. And when he's done, of course, he heals All Might. But everyone's scared by this. And then he figures a way to. Instead, he needs to figure a way to control his bloodlust. So, he tries to stop feeling that emotion altogether. And after the final exam, Soraka, as I said, has a crush on him and walks over to him and says, "Would you like to go out sometime?" And Izuku, being cheerful and all that, a very cheerful person, says, "Yeah, I would love to go on a date with you." And Araka blushes at this because she said going out, and she blushes and says, uh, "Okay, well, when would be okay?" And he says, "How about tomorrow?" Because they have off school, and because they're building the dorms and stuff. And Araka says, "Sounds great." And after Araka leaves, his eyes, Araka didn't notice, but his eyes were pink, which means passion. Which also means he was in love with her. And he was blushing very hard, like most of the skeletons do in the animations when they blush. Just don't know how it happens. They do. And Izuku does not look like a typical skeleton from skeletons. He just looks like this. Ink. He looks like ink. 100% through and through. He starts thinking about the day and blushes and thinks to himself, tomorrow's gonna be the best day of my life. And I think I'll pick this up in the next part. So, yeah. Bye. Do 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 do.